There's something specific that you do that I don't think I've ever seen another grower do in my life. And this is what I was the most excited to talk to you about, is your not scrogging method. I'm going to show some pictures over here of not scrogged canopies. And I'm just going to show some pictures, and you tell me what do you do and why does it look like this? That is not a scrog. What the hell are you doing over there, TDM?
So what we call it is the thin and pin technique. And it's one of the benefits that I was also shown to growing in the living soil bed. You can do it other ways. We've done it in pots and stuff like that before in the past, but the beds really seem to be the best and easiest way to get your canopy the most efficient light to all the bud sites. And so it's pretty strain dependent on when you start things, but we're trying to achieve the same. And that's letting your plant get comfortable, settled, grow to the right height, and then defoliate and then lay down, essentially pin. I use like bamboo or 8-inch landscape staples to do that.
That's so crazy. So this is one of the pictures of kind of like the early stages there. So once you put them in, you let them bush up, then you pin them down. You're not training immediately.
Yeah, so that, I'm glad you pulled up that picture. So that is what I call directionalizing the plant. So when I plant the plant in the bed, I kind of open it up and see like what direction I want the arms to start growing into and pin them like that. So that's probably like, day 2 of veg after the replant. So that's the directionalized. And then from there, I let them just do their thing until the bed fills out to where I want the bed to. And all of that is going to be pretty strain dependent, whether the plants grow fast or they're small bushes or whatever. So knowing your cultivar when you're doing that is like a big help at getting your bed filled out the way that you want it to. But, essentially we're trying to do the same thing with every strain. It's just a little different. The way that I do it, it's the benefit of using that bed. I see a lot of people growing organics and they grow the same, as everyone else does, where they just grow these plants as tall as they can and just do layers of scrog. And there's nothing wrong with that. That's a technique and method too. But if you're growing that to me makes more sense if you're growing like commercially and hydro. So if you're in the little cocoa pots or your rock wool or whatever, it's easier to do that. But if you're in a soil bed, for me, the benefit is being able to lay that plant out like that and getting more direct light to each individual bud site versus lollipopping the shit out of a plant and having those nutrients have to, travel all the way up these long, tall stems to get to the buds.
And so you call it the thin and pin. And what's how much are you thinning? Obviously, if you call it the thin and pin, thinning is very important. How are you thinning before you start directionalizing it?
It really depends on the strain. If the strain is really bushy, you have to thin it like more often than the ones obviously that are thinner. So it really it's hard to explain for me because like I try and grow one different strain per light/table. So I always have a lot of different ones going, hybrids, sativas, whatever. So that's what I was going back to saying, like, you're trying to do the same thing in each bed. There's just subtle different timings depending on what that strain does. But if you pull leaves too soon, there's definitely strains that get stunted and don't really like fill the tables out quite as much. So that just kind of takes like, knowing what you're growing with and what they do and just experience. You can't really, learn that besides, from doing it.
And so as you go through there, is there any sort of like, we got VB here asking how long a veg. How do you decide how long a veg is? Since obviously you're not moving it into a flower tent or anything like that or repotting. Is there any sign signals? Are you just looking for a thick canopy? Are you looking for anything as far as leaves?
So I try and have my plants a certain size when they go in that I like. If they're
I see that's a pretty healthy veg plant. You say that's day two of veg. That's ridiculously healthy looking.
Yeah, well, so the plants, my ideal thing is like after I cut clones, usually about 2 weeks to get good roots, and then I just grow them in flood tables with just using GH for probably like ideally 5 to 6 weeks, and get them, like a 12, 14-inch healthy plant, and I put 6 of those in per 5x5 table.
Okay, there you go. Well, that explains why those are so healthy.
Yeah, and then once they're transplanted, it's usually really only a 3 or 4 day veg, and then kick to 12/12.
No shit. Okay. Yep. Well, I'm glad I asked. That is very counterintuitive.
Yeah.
So you're doing a lot of the legwork before you even get them in there. So that way you can baby them, get them exactly how you want them, and all the things that you want out of organics, all these VOCs and compounds that we like in the end stage. You're not even worrying about that in the beginning because they're not there. Interesting.
Yep. Yeah. So it's quick flip if you're on it, and it just works really well, and you can get everything settled. Pick out the best plants, toss runts if they're in the mix, and just use the happiest and healthiest ones, essentially just picking the best of the best from your clones and getting them in the bed. So we usually take down, I got a day after takedown of cleaning up and getting things back organized, and then I'll replant the following day, and then 4-day veg, and then flip them. So under a week you're back into flower.
We're dropping knowledge on Grambo.